Everyone, we begin here. Thousands of marchers from different civil society groups have taken to the streets of Cape Town in support of the people of Gaza. The demonstrators say they're united in their call for an immediate end to what they describe as genocide in Gaza. The marches are aimed at pressuring the South African government to sever ties with Israel over its military actions in Gaza. Newzroom Afrika reporter Nasiphi Same joins us for more on this story. Nasiphi, let's talk about the timing of this march, which comes on the backdrop of President Cyril Ramaphosa addressing the 80th United Nations General Assembly only a few days ago and calling out Israel and calling out the world in being implicit, if you will, by not doing enough to stop all the fighting that's going on in Gaza.
Well, indeed, Hugo, this planned demonstration by the Palestinian Solidarity Movement and a number of organizations and political parties that are in attendance in this march, marching to Parliament in the streets of the city of Cape Town, comes amid growing international attention on the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. The group, along allied organizations, will be handing over a memorandum of demands to Parliament, and they are calling on for the close of the Israeli embassy in Pretoria and immediate halt on all diplomatic and trade relations in Israel. But Hugo, this call is not new. Back in 2023, November, a motion brought by the economic freedom fighters came as a response to the ongoing humanitarian violation in Israel in the Israel and Palestine conflict, where the National Assembly adopted a motion calling for the South African government to close the Israeli embassy in South Africa and suspend all diplomatic relations with Israel. And in an approved amendment by the ANC, I am now joined by the Deputy Secretary General, Newzroom. She's part of the march. We are less than a kilometer away from Parliament. We've heard the people in this march, what they are calling for, what they're demanding for South African government to do. This call is not new.
They're demanding the boycott of Israeli products. They are calling for a ceasefire. They are calling for a free Palestine. They are calling for the total closure of the Israeli embassy. All these are the things that we support as the ANC. We call upon the private sector. We must take our struggles now beyond government, because the South African government is in court taking the apartheid Israeli government to court. And today we must challenge the private sector, the markets here in our country that are producing and those that are bringing the goods from occupied Gaza, even from apartheid Israel. The struggle now must be against the private sector, against capital that is actually making profits out of the blood of the people of Palestine.
Where are we with the motion that was passed by National Assembly in 2023 for this very call that you speak of? What is the progress in the closure of the Israeli embassy?
We have already downscaled. The South African government has downscaled the Israeli embassy as we speak now. Secondly, there was also an issue about those Doctors Without Borders who have to travel to occupied Gaza, who also need to be assisted. And hence there was a challenge about total closure, because then those who are taking aid will not be able to enter the space.
You're saying that the call now and the fight now is with private sector. What is the ANC, as one of the governing parties in the GNU, going to do to ensure that the calls by the people of South Africa, as we see in this march, is something that is effective?
We support what the South African government has done. Even under the GNU, the ANC has not veered from its foreign policy. Our commitment, even when we entered the government of national unity. And therefore, we need organized workers, we need the private sector, we need these South Africans to boycott the goods that they buy coming from Israel. And we need workers in the harbors, in the docks, to also enter the struggle in solidarity. As for the South African government, the African National Congress, we must salute them. We've seen what has happened in the United Nations just a few days ago. Today, over 10 other international bodies have now supported our own affirmation that this is genocide. We welcome those who have followed our conviction and we remain vindicated. We also are quite humbled seeing other political parties that were actually critical, that here now united we are calling for ceasefire, self-determination and humanity for the people of Palestine.
Thank you so much. That is the Deputy Secretary General there of the ANC, part of the march to Parliament. We're less than a kilometre away where a memorandum of demand will be handed down to government. And we've heard the calls. Now the ANC is saying that their foreign policy remains and calling on the people of South Africa to boycott the goods and calling on the private sector to join the protest against Israel goods.
That's Nasiphi Same coming to us from Cape Town, where scores of individuals are marching and calling on the government of South Africa to sever ties with Israel.